Welcome back, everyone. We get to take a look at the iPhone 6s Plus and compare it against the iPhone 6 Plus and see which specific phone you should go and pick up. Now, I'm going to tell you, I probably wouldn't recommend picking up either one of these. I would highly recommend buying an iPhone 7 Plus at the very minimum. Anything higher is better. So I'll leave some phones I recommend in the description down below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, the 6s Plus is the one on the left. You can tell because this one does have the widgets on it. The iPhone 6 Plus on the right side does not have any widgets, still stuck on iOS 12, which is totally okay. Now, these phones are very interesting because the 6 Plus and the 6s Plus were only 1 year apart in terms of like the age and everything, but it's strange because they were actually super different in terms of OSs. The 6s Plus, has iOS 15 on it. The iPhone 6 Plus ended off with iOS 12. So that was a massive difference between them, to be completely honest. Now, in terms of the build quality and everything, they're almost identically the same. The iPhone 6 Plus and the 6s Plus both have 5.5-inch panels on the front, IPS panels, so really nothing different there. They both have pretty much the same type of, bezels and everything. The only difference on the front, I think, besides the front-facing camera, is that the iPhone 6s Plus has Touch ID 2 on the front, where the 6 Plus has Touch ID 1. So if we're looking at the fingerprint sensors here, you're going to be getting faster reading time from the 6s Plus, but it's really not even that big of a deal, to be completely honest. Now on the bottom, both of them have lightning ports and headphone jacks as well, so nothing really different there, although the 6s Plus was one of the last iPhones to have the headphone jack. In terms of thinness and thickness between them, they're almost exactly the same. As far as I can tell, the 6s Plus I heard was a little bit thinner, but the biggest thing with the 6s Plus was that it stopped a lot of the bending that was going on at the time. The 6s Plus, I guess, had better build quality and was just a little bit more durable. The 6 Plus was super easy to bend if you guys remember that. Now on the back, almost the same exact thing as well. You only have the S here and no S there, which is pretty much the biggest difference. You can also see a little bit that the cameras are almost identically the same. They're in the same area. I've always found that the antenna bands on the 6 Plus are a little bit lighter than the antenna bands of the 6s Plus. I don't know if that's just me, but maybe that's the case. Actually, they look almost the same. And that really pretty much covers it up on the outside. And no IP certification on either one of these. No wireless charging, no back tap, no nothing. There's really like basic iPhones for nowadays. But I think at that time they were pretty impressive, without a doubt. Now, in terms of longevity, this is another big thing to keep in mind. The iPhone 6 Plus has been outdated for several years now. The 6 Plus is not getting any more updates, so there's really no point in even talking about this because the 6 Plus, it's gotten updates like security updates within iOS 12, but they're not full OS updates like the 6s Plus has gotten. So this phone, on the other hand, is crazy. The amount of features that the iPhone 6s Plus has is pretty insane to me for how old this phone is. I mean, this to think these phones are only 1 year apart from each other, but this phone stopped at iOS 12. This phone stopped at iOS 15 or is going to stop at iOS 15. So it's pretty crazy stuff to me. I think obviously with the 6s Plus, it still has a long ways to go, but it's always been super impressive to me about the capability of something with the 6s Plus over the iPhone 6 Plus. I think obviously when it comes down to it, the 6 Plus is pretty much the same in terms of build quality, but the 6s Plus I think was a pretty big upgrade coming from the 6 Plus, and all those changes were internal. So in terms of that, that covers it up there. Now let's go into a speed comparison between them. The iPhone 6s Plus has that Apple A9 chip inside of it with 2 GB of RAM, the first iPhone to bring 2 GB of RAM, where the iPhone 6 Plus has that Apple A8 chip inside of it with 1 GB of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both of these. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you can kind of see it. All the apps are clear on the background. Now I don't think I download any apps here because I ran out of storage here, but we'll still be able to load up a few. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. The 6s Plus was definitely faster. 6s Plus here, 6 Plus here. Hopping out of this one, let's get into App Stores, 3, 2, 1. And I don't know I think the 6 Plus was faster there, but they were both very identical. Let's go into this first one. The 6 Plus was faster there a little bit. Scrolling through, let's go and see if there's a difference. And I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference, but I also didn't think the 6 Plus was going to beat that one. Scrolling through, nothing I can really see for sure. Let's get into the cameras, 3, 2, 1. Almost the same thing, so not a big difference there either. Let's get into something like photos, 3, 2, 1. And this is another tough one. There's too many things that are kind of moving around. So let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get in their settings, 3, 2, 1. And the 6s Plus looks like it was faster there, although they were on different panels. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go here and let's just go back home. Pretty much the same type of layout there too. Let's go into mail, 3, 2, 1. A little bit of a glitch delay on the iPhone 6 Plus. Hopping out of this one. Let's go and get into calendar, 3, 2, 1. A little bit of a delay when I click on the 6 Plus as well. So the 6s Plus was definitely faster there for sure. Let's get into Apple TV, 3, 2, 1. It was faster to get into this panel on the iPhone 6 Plus, where maybe the 6S Plus, maybe with so many updates after, it was a little bit slower. Who knows? Let's get into clock. 3, 2, 1. And I'm always noticing a little bit of a delay when I tap it on the iPhone 6 Plus. I don't know what that is. Obviously, it's with the phone being a little bit older, but it's totally okay, like I mentioned. Let's get into podcast. 3, 2, 1. 6S Plus was definitely faster there. 6 Plus a little bit behind. Let's go and get into something like their Files application, which I have here. 3, 2, 1. And even in getting into something like as basic as the Files application was faster on the 6S Plus, which is very, very interesting. I want to try the calculator app, wherever that is. I'm not even too sure where it is here. 3, 2, 1. I think even technically getting to the calculator app, it was faster on something like the iPhone 6S Plus, which again is very, very interesting. And we can make our way over to the Watch app. 3, 2, 1. And again, 6S Plus is faster. iPhone 6 Plus a little bit behind. And I think that ultimately covers up a majority of the applications I wanted to test. I mean, we can try things like voice memos. 3, 2, 1. 6S Plus was faster again. We can get into Compass. 3, 2, 1. Again, I think a little bit of a delay on the 6S Plus, and it did take a little bit of a longer time. And I guess it can't calibrate as well as the iPhone 6S Plus, which is another very interesting thing. So not only are you getting just a faster phone on the 6S Plus, but you're also getting, I think, a phone with more features overall. You also have Force Touch on the 6S Plus, which is very interesting too. So I think ultimately the 6S Plus is probably the faster one. They're both very slow, I think, when it comes down to it. RAM is looking to be about the same, which is kind of weird. But I think ultimately when it comes down to it, I would rather have a 6S Plus than a 6 Plus, but I don't think you should pick up either one of these. I think the 7 Plus is probably the lowest one I'd recommend. So let's go and hit on the cameras. Now the cameras were pretty big, difference between them. The 6S Plus had a 12 megapixel 4K at 30 lens. The iPhone 6 Plus had an 8 megapixel only 1080p camera here. So big thing to keep in mind. With the 6 Plus camera, personally I used the 6 Plus for a little bit of time. It was the first iPhone I've ever used, and I had a great time with this camera. I think it was a good camera. It was definitely better than I think my G2 for some applications I was using, but I think overall nowadays it is very dated. Again, you only get 1080p, you don't get really any other things with this camera, which is kind of a big downgrade. But if you have to use this camera, then I think okay, like there's really nothing, I guess horribly wrong with it, but it's not that good compared to nowadays. The difference from the 6 Plus to the 6S Plus is not a crazy big difference now, but at that time, I think it was a pretty big difference. The 6S Plus with having that 4K at 30 lens, I mean, you had the ability of actually utilizing that at, extra capability in higher resolutions, which is really cool. You don't really get that nowadays. We haven't gotten 8K yet, so this was one of the last times we've gotten a big, massive, resolution camera upgrade on the back. We did get 4K at 60 on the iPhone 11s, but still it's very weird that we still don't have 8K on iPhones, and this iPhone was the last one to have that capability, which is really cool. So 4K at 30 is still good enough for the most part. I don't think it's amazing, but if you need a phone that has a better lens than the 6 Plus, the 6S Plus is your way to go. And ultimately, I would definitely tell you the 6S Plus is probably the better one to pick up. I mean, this one, the 6 Plus really doesn't have too much going for it anymore. It is pretty outdated. I think the build quality was pretty good at a time, but I just don't think it's really worth it anymore. I mean, it's severely outdated. It's not getting any more software updates, and because of that, it just doesn't really make too much sense to pick up a device like this. Now, with the 6S Plus, it really doesn't make too much sense to buy this phone either, to be honest, but if you need a phone that's still supported, I will say, I mean, this is the lowest one that's, supported, so I guess you can't go wrong with it. But I would recommend buying something like an iPhone 7 Plus at the very least. An iPhone 10 is perfect. But if you own a 6S Plus, you feel free to keep it for as long as you want to. But I would recommend updating very soon to the 7 Plus or an iPhone 10 at the very, minimum, in my opinion. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.